welcome back to Walking the Talk, the sermon podcast of Creekside Community Church in San Leandro, California, where we help you to walk out what we talked about on Sunday. My name is Jeff Bruce. I'm one of the pastors here. I'm joined by John Bruce. I'm joined by Max Butler, the usual cast and crew. Gentlemen, how are we?
Fine.
Well, great.
Yeah.
I'm greatly relieved.
Oh, that my dad is fine, or
that the busy season is or one of the busy seasons,
yeah,
is finished, and it was finished well. So,
ew. Yes. No, you guys did a great job putting together the Easter weekend, and yeah, I'm recovering. That's why I have this
little
Barry White voice today,
Nice.
deep into the mic, and yeah, I'm so discombobulated that I went in to tell you, Dad, it's time to record a podcast, and and I also forgot to turn off my phone. I said, it's time to record a podcast, and I thought you said fine, and you never heard me. And now we're both questioning our sanity if we ever had that discussion. So,
Yeah, no, I didn't remember. I usually don't have lapses of memory like that.
yeah. Well, hopefully we'll remember the sermons.
Yes.
What we talked about. Trying to play a little catch up here with our 1 Samuel series, and we're going to look at 1 Samuel 8 and Israel's demand for a king. When Samuel became old, he made his sons judges over Israel. The name of his firstborn son was Joel, and the name of his second, Abijah. They were judges in Beersheba, yet his sons did not walk in his ways, but turned aside after gain. They took bribes and perverted justice. Then all the elders of Israel gathered together and came to Samuel at Ramah and said to him, Behold, you are old, and your sons do not walk in your ways. Now appoint for us a king to judge us like all the nations. But the thing displeased Samuel when they said, Give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed to the Lord. And the Lord said to Samuel, Obey the voice of the people in all that they say to you, for they have not rejected you, but they have rejected me from being king over them. According to all the deeds that they have done from the day I brought them up out of Egypt, even to this day, forsaking me and serving other gods, so they are also doing to you. Now then, obey their voice, and you shall solemnly warn them, and show them the ways of the king who shall reign over them. So Samuel told all the words of the Lord to the people who were asking for a king from him. He said, These will be the ways of the king who will reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them to his chariots and to be his horsemen and to run before his chariots. And he will appoint for himself commanders of thousands and commanders of 50s, and some to plow his ground and to reap his harvest, and to make his implements of war and the equipment of his chariots. He will take your daughters to be perfumers and cooks and bakers. He will take the best of your fields and vineyards and olive orchards and give them to his servants. He will take the tenth of your grain and of your vineyards and give it to his officers and to his servants. He will take your male servants and female servants and the best of your young men and your donkeys and put them to his work. He will take the tenth of your flocks, and you shall be his slaves. And in that day you will cry out because of your king, whom you have chosen for yourselves, but the Lord will not answer you in that day. But the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, No, but there shall be a king over us, that we also may be like all the nations, and that our king may judge us and go out before us and fight our battles. And when Samuel had heard all the words of the people, he repeated them in the ears of the Lord. And the Lord said to Samuel, Obey their voice and make them a king. Samuel then said to the men of Israel, Go every man to his city. One thing that stands out to me about a passage like this is the Bible is often more complex than we might think in its storytelling. Because did God want Israel to have a king or not? It's an interesting question. You go back to Deuteronomy, it sure seems like, yes, at some point he wanted a king. And yet here, Israel asks for something. But as you said, they're asking for something God wanted to give them, but their motivation is wrong. It's the right thing for the wrong reasons. And it's interesting how God responds, because he doesn't just say no, but he also doesn't just say, oh, okay, I'll change my plans. In a sense, he says, well, you get what you want, but you're not going to like it.
Yeah. No, it's interesting that it shows, I think, that God will give us what we demand often so that we'll learn from the lesson. He doesn't abandon his people here. In fact, he actually gives them what they ask for. And But hopefully they'll learn that they ask for it for the wrong reasons. And it's just the old thing. The only thing worse than not getting what you ask for is getting what you ask for. And because often our hearts are sinful and we want the right thing, but we want it for the wrong reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what strikes me here.
It's the C.S. Lewis quote, hell will be filled with people to whom God has said, thy will be done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is. And it seems like the clue to what's going on here is that phrase, like all the nations.
Yeah. Yeah.
They want a king to be like all the nations. God has made them a kingdom separate from the nations, unlike the nations. And so their request for a king is bound up with their need for a certain kind of security,
Yeah.
an order that they think a different kind of government can provide to them.
Right. Right. No, they're putting their trust in the governmental system rather than in the Lord. And God has always delivered them. The problem is they have to repent. And they would like to have a government who they don't have to repent of, and they can just do what they want to do, and the government will take care of them.
Yeah.
What a strange request. And yeah, I think it's interesting though that God says, tell Samuel, give them what they ask for, but first tell them what this will mean for them.
Yeah.
And so God gives us very clear warnings. He doesn't trap us. He doesn't fool us. He gives us clear warnings about what our decisions will lead to. The question is, do we listen to him or refuse to listen to him?
Yeah.
And he tells us, here's exactly what a king will mean for you, this particular king.
Yeah.
And we still want that because we want to be like the other nations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think our desires will always cloud our better judgment.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's interesting here is you look at the circumstances. I'm trying to put myself in the Israelites' shoes because it's easy to paint them as the bad guy here. But Samuel was a good judge. He was a bad dad.
Yeah.
And he did exactly what Eli did, which was appoint his sons who are unqualified for the position. They've got to be sick of bad spiritual leadership at this point. Here we go again. We thought we were getting out of this with Samuel, and now we've got his miserable sons again, perverting justice. Maybe this whole priesthood thing isn't that great. Maybe we need a new institution here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's often when our desires lead us astray, is we're rightly sick of something, but we just look to the wrong solution. We look to a quick fix.
Yeah. 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 They couldn't see how it was going to work out because, Samuel's a great leader, but Samuel's getting old.
Yeah.
And who do we got?
Yeah. Yeah. Who's on the bench? Ooh. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so you had some great examples of this about different ways that you can ask for the right thing, but for the wrong reasons.
Right. Right.
And-
Yeah, I think that we all have things we really want. And those things we really want, we can either trust God for them or we can trust ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy to rationalize to say I'm trusting God when I'm really trusting myself. And so I use the example of relationships.
Yeah.
That Jesus said, who loves husband or wife or father or mother or children more than me is not worthy of me. And it's really easy to put relationships we have, whether it be marriage or children, parents or friendships, before God.
Yeah.
And those relationships, even though they're great relationships, sour outside the blessing of God. And if they're drawing us away from God, a good relationship can become a bad thing.
Yeah.
Just on that note, I think that people tend to deify their relationships, meaning that their spouse or their friends become God to them.
Mm-hmm.
And if they are let down by those people, then they try to change out that. They're not seeing that God is the person that provides everything they truly need. If you rely on God, when your relationship's gone sour or if it's having a rough period, that's not your hope.
Yeah.
And you can weather that because your relationship with God will always remain the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's the irony is if you want to be unhappy in any relationship, look to the relationship to make you happy.
Yeah.
And the minute you do that, you're going to find all sorts of reasons to be unhappy with the relationship. All sorts of reasons it's not meeting your needs, or it's not reciprocal, or it's not.
Yeah.
And God says, just treat the person the way I treat you and do it in response to me. And all of a sudden you have a whole new motivation for the relationship, and you find the relationship gets better.
Yeah. A guy told me last night, a friend of his is a marriage counselor, and he just asked people, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?
Yes.
Can I have it all?
But just to clarify, so we're on the same page, you think I am right and you want me to be happy, right?
Yeah.
No, that's good.
Yeah. I think another area is just success in things you need to be successful in. Those things can become a means that God uses to bless you, because he puts those desires in our hearts if we'll put him first and trust him to work those things out in his own way, his own time. Or they can become barriers between us and God, because we put this, if I could be successful, then I'll really be happy.
Yeah.
And we put those things before God, and so they become enemies of God, and we fall. It's wanting the right thing, but we want it for the wrong reason, to replace God rather than to see God be glorified through it.
Yeah. I remember, and I liked the ministry examples you gave. And I remember talking to a young church planner years ago, and just that feeling of anxiety that we're not growing, we're not reaching enough people.
Yeah.
And we talked about it, and I just said, when are you happiest in ministry? When are you most joyful? And he says, it's seeing people come to Christ or seeing people change.
Mm-hmm.
To really get something from God's word and see them transform.
Yeah.
And I said to him, that will be true when your church is 10 people. And if your church ever gets to 10,000 people, that the thing that will bring you joy is seeing God work through you in people's life.
Yeah.
And it was a great reminder, even as I'm saying it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the point, that the thing that will bring us joy is not the thing we think. It's not when we hit some metric or some, success. Cause then that just means, oh man, now there's going to be new challenges. That's now the bosses get harder, right? As you level up into things, it's seeing God work is what brings you joy. And if you're focused on that, then you're always going to have joy in what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
And, and not some external standard of success.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how does that look in terms of government? like living in a society, it's like that's
for the Israelites.
Yeah, for the Israelites, in this larger context, how for one of us, like we making God king today, what does that look like? Maybe that's a bigger question.
I think one of the for me, I think here's where I get caught up societally is I think. I heard someone say it like this: we're very concerned about the weather, but we're not looking at the climate. Meaning that the day-to-day things is what everyone wants to talk about. What's the next crazy thing someone said, or that...
Is that coming through?
It's coming through. Little Rich Eisen's coming through there. That's really funny. Yeah, and so the anxiety that breeds is that whatever happened yesterday is the most important thing that's ever happened, the thing that I need to be most anxious about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rather than asking the question, what are the things that I'm doing today? What good am I doing? What am I investing in? What am I sowing that will yield a harvest that will outlive me and hopefully change our society for the better? Not to be unconcerned about what's happening in the day-to-day, but whatever you're most concerned about today, you're going to be least concerned about tomorrow so often, because it's always switching, the thing that people have the most anxiety over. And I think that's one thing I see in our culture. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And that's why discipleship and kingdom-oriented work is always great, because that you're investing in people's eternal future, not just the things that are happening in this moment,
Yeah, and I think it's a realization, though, that any problem in the world is too hard for me to solve, and it's going to take my life to contribute toward solving it, right? So, I think for Cashel and I, we've invested in foster care. Like that's the thing, the need in our culture that we want to, and it is very hard to move the needle, very hard. and it will take the rest of our lives to see a change in the East Bay
Mm-hmm.
in this area. And if we give the very best of ourselves to it, we can move the needle a little bit in this area.
Mm-hmm.
And that's outside of what God has called me to in ministry at Creekside, that is the thing that I think of. And it's just, but it's a long-term vision, I guess is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no quick fix for some of these things.
Yeah, I think that's the problem is that people are not looking at what can I do to affect this.
Yeah.
They want to gripe about what the government's not doing.
Right.
And they put
Or what they could do for them.
they put their hope in politics, which has never changed anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's really the big changes come from the grassroots up, and people laboring on it and working on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say certainly there have been, transformations through legislation and laws passing and things like that have been good for society. I guess the question is, where did those come from? In terms of what was the effort that ultimately led to those kind of reforms?
Yes.
Where did it begin?
Yes,
the question
exactly.
you're asking. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a good question, Max, because I think, for them, they're rightly sick of something, but also for them, what's unique though, is God gave them a playbook, right? It's not like why you get into bad predicaments, and it's because that you don't put away your idols. There's clear things that you should be doing, Israel. And, Israel just had not learned the lesson yet of the cycle of judges yet.
Yeah.
And they look at, well, there's no king in Israel. That's the problem. Let's get a king in Israel. And it's no, everyone is doing what's right in their own eyes. That's the problem. And
all the king will do what is right in his eyes.
Yeah.
But because he's king, he will take.
Right.
He will take. Still want a king? Yay, we want a king. It's just ridiculous. Here's what he'll do for us. Nah, he really won't. You'll be dissatisfied with your king.
Yep.
But he will take all your stuff and make you his servants.
Yeah.
And you'll long for the days when there was no king.
Yeah. I mean, it's Pharaoh-like the way he describes the king.
Yeah.
You will be his slaves, and then you will cry out to me.
Yeah.
That's what's coming if you want to be a king like all the nations.
Yeah.
That's how the nations operate, is that we are all subject to the king, and the king has absolute authority.
Yeah.
And one thing I love about what God does here is he sort of gives them what they want, but he's too gracious to give them exactly what they want.
Yeah.
Because he gives them the king they want, ultimately. He doesn't give them the kingdom they want. The kingdom he establishes is still his kingdom. It's still, the framework is going to be a king who rules under the law.
Right.
And under his law. And so he's still moving his plan forward here, which is an amazing thing.
And as we'll see, he gives this king every opportunity to be a good king.
Yeah.
I mean, he gives him his miracles, he gives him direction, he gives him everything to teach him to be a good king. So it's not like God just said, I'll give him a jerk so they'll learn the lesson.
Yeah.
He's always good.
Yep. It's a great point. One other question I had kind of come out of the sermon was, how can you discern where your motives are bad, right? Because you can want the right thing, but for the wrong reason. I mean, what kind of questions do we need to interrogate ourselves with when we really, really want something? Why?
Yeah, I think I've got to ask myself, what do I love more? Do I love Christ more, or do I love this thing more? Yeah. And if Christ were not to give this to me, how would I react? And I would say, if I could just say, okay, it wasn't his will, I don't want it.
Yeah.
But if I say, oh gosh, if he doesn't give it, I don't know what I'll do. Then it's become too great a love for me.
Yeah.
That's idol detection 101.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a great place to start is asking yourself, is this the thing that I can't live without?
Yeah. Why do I want this?
Why do I want this so much?
Yeah.
And then how do I view Jesus if he doesn't give it to me?
Yeah.
Do I think he's withholding from me?
Yeah.
Because no good thing will he withhold from me.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't give it to me, it's because it would ruin me. It wouldn't give me joy.
Yeah. Yeah.
A practical way to ask yourself that question is to maybe think about fasting. fasting from media, fasting from drinking, fasting from, a certain thing that, that's kind of it's a big thing in your life. For me, it'd probably be like baseball.
That's an easy fast.
Yeah, man. I've been fasting from that for years.
Yay, me.
Right. But what you're saying is a good spiritual discipline to cultivate when a good thing is becoming a God thing.
Yeah.
Is to fast from that.
Yeah. To set it down for a day, a week,
Yeah. Just to train yourself that I can live without that thing.
Yeah.
Yep. It's good. Well, let's jump into the next passage. And we already talked about a lot of the themes, but it's a very long passage. So, guys, you can sit back and I'm going to read for a while here. Israel asked for a king, and now God says, here you go. There was a man of Benjamin whose name was Kish, the son of Abiel, son of Zeror, son of Bechorath, son of Aphiah, a Benjaminite, a man of wealth. And he had a son whose name was Saul, a handsome young man. There was not a man among the people of Israel more handsome than he. From his shoulders upward, he was taller than any of the people. Now the donkeys of Kish, Saul's father, were lost. So Kish said to Saul, his son, take one of the young men with you and arise, go and look for the donkeys. And he passed through the hill country of Ephraim and passed through the land of Shalishah, but they did not find them. And they passed through the land of Shaalim, but they were not there. Then they passed through the land of Benjamin, but they did not find them. When they came to the land of Zuph, Saul said to his servant who was with him, come, let us go back, lest my father cease to care about the donkeys and become anxious about us. But he said to him, behold, there is a man of God in this city, and he is a man who is held in honor. All that he says comes true. So now let us go there. Perhaps he can tell us the way we should go. Then Saul said to his servant, but if we go, what can we bring the man? For the bread in our sacks is gone, and there is no present to bring to the man of God. What do we have? The servant answered Saul again, here, I have with me a quarter of a shekel of silver, and I will give it to the man of God to tell us our way. Formerly in Israel, when a man went to inquire of God, he said, come, let us go to the seer, for today's prophet was formerly called a seer. And Saul said to his servant, well said, come, let us go. So they went to the city where the man of God was. As they went up to the hill to the city, they met young women coming out to draw water and said to them, is the seer here? They answered, he is. Behold, he is just ahead of you. Hurry, he has just come now to the city, because the people have a sacrifice today on the high place. As soon as you enter the city, you will find him, before he goes up to the high place to eat. For the people will not eat till he comes, since he must bless the sacrifice. Afterward, those who are invited will eat. Now go up, for you will meet him immediately. So they went up to the city. As they were entering the city, they saw Samuel coming out toward them, on his way up to the high place. Now the day before Saul came, the Lord had revealed to Samuel, tomorrow about this time I will send to you a man from the land of Benjamin, and you shall anoint him to be prince over my people Israel. He shall save my people from the hand of the Philistines, for I have seen my people, because their cry has come to me. When Samuel saw Saul, the Lord told him, here is the man of whom I spoke to you. He it is who shall restrain my people. Then Saul approached Samuel in the gate and said, tell me, where is the house of the seer? Samuel answered Saul, I am the seer. Go up before me to the high place, for today you shall eat with me, and in the morning I will let you go and will tell you all that is on your mind. As for your donkeys that were lost 3 days ago, do not set your mind on them, for they have been found. And for whom is all that is desirable in Israel? Is it not for you and for all your father's house? Saul answered, am I not a Benjaminite from the least of the tribes of Israel? And is not my clan the humblest of all the clans of the tribe of Benjamin? Why then have you spoken to me in this way? Then Samuel took Saul and his young man and brought them into the hall and gave them a place at the head of those who had been invited, who were about 30 persons. And Samuel said to the cook, bring the portion I gave you, of which I said to you, put it aside. So the cook took up the leg and what was on it and set them before Saul. And Samuel said, see, what was kept is set before you. Eat, because it was kept for you until the hour appointed, that you might eat with the guests. So Saul ate with Samuel that day. And when they came down from the high place into the city, a bed was spread for Saul on the roof, and he lay down to sleep. Then at the break of dawn, Samuel called to Saul on the roof, up, that I may send you on your way. So Saul arose, both he and Samuel went out into the street. As they were going down to the outskirts of the city, Samuel said to Saul, tell the servant to pass on before us, and when he has passed on, stop here yourself for a while, that I may make known to you the word of God. Then Samuel took a flask of oil and poured it on his head, and kissed him, and said, has not the Lord anointed you to be prince over his people Israel? And you shall reign over the people of the Lord, and will save them from the hand of their enemy, hand of their surrounding enemies. And this shall be the sign to you that the Lord has anointed you to be prince over his heritage. When you depart from me today, you will meet 2 men by Rachel's tomb in the territory of Benjamin at Zelzah, and they will say to you, the donkeys that you went to seek are found. Now your father has ceased to care about the donkeys and is anxious about you, saying, what shall I do about my son? Then you shall go on from there further and come to the oak of Tabor. 3 men going up to God at Bethel will meet you there, one carrying 3 young goats, another carrying 3 loaves of bread, and another carrying a skin of wine. And they will greet you and give you 2 loaves of bread, which you shall accept from their hand. After that, you shall come to Gibeath Elohim, where there is a garrison of the Philistines. And there, as soon as you come into the city, you will meet a group of prophets coming down from the high place with harp, tambourine, flute, and lyre before them, prophesying. Then the Spirit of the Lord will rush upon you, and you will prophesy with them and be turned into another man. Now, when these signs meet you, do what your hand finds to do, for God is with you. Then go down before me to Gilgal, and behold, I am coming to you to offer burnt offerings and to sacrifice peace offerings. 7 days you shall wait until I come to you and show you what you shall do. When he turned his back to leave Samuel, God gave him another heart, and all these signs came to pass that day. When they came to Gibeah, behold, a group of prophets met him, and the Spirit of God rushed upon him, and he prophesied among them. And when all who knew him previously saw how he prophesied with the prophets, the people said to one another, what has come over the son of Kish? Is Saul also among the prophets? And a man of the place answered, and who is their father? Therefore it became a proverb. Is Saul also among the prophets? When he had finished prophesying, he came to the high place. Saul's uncle said to him and to his servant, where did you go? And he said, to seek the donkeys. And when we saw that they were not found, we went to Samuel. And Saul's uncle said, please tell me what Samuel said to you. And Saul said to his uncle, he told us plainly that the donkeys had been found. But about the matter of the kingdom of which Samuel had spoken, he did not tell him anything. Now Samuel called the people together to the Lord at Mizpah, and he said to the people of Israel, thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, I brought up Israel out of the house of Egypt, and I delivered you from the hand of the Egyptians and from the hand of the kingdoms that were oppressing you. But today you have rejected your God, who saves you from all your calamities and your distresses, and you have said to him, set a king over us. Now therefore present yourselves before the Lord by your tribes and by your thousands. Then Samuel brought all the tribes of Israel near, and the tribe of Benjamin was taken by lot. He brought the tribe of Benjamin near by its clans, and the clan of the Matrites was taken by lot, and Saul the son of Kish was taken by lot. But when they sought him, he could not be found. So they inquired again of the Lord, is there a man still to come? And the Lord said, behold, he has hidden himself among the baggage. Then they ran and took him from there. And when he stood among the people, he was taller than any of the people from his shoulders upward. And Samuel said to all the people, do you see him whom the Lord has chosen? There is none like him among all the people. And the people shouted, long live the king. Then Samuel told the people the rights and duties of the kingship, and he wrote them in a book and laid it up before the Lord. Then Samuel sent all the people away, each one to his home. Saul also went to his home at Gibeah, and with him went men of valor, whose hearts God had touched. But some worthless fellows said, how can this man save us? And they despised him and brought him no present, but he held his peace. It's a really long story.
Yeah. It is.
Which is interesting because the amount of detail in the story shows God's providential hand in the story.
Mm-hmm.
That God is very deliberate in singling out this guy in particular to leave him in no doubt
Right.
that he's the guy, and to leave Israel in no doubt. And yet, it's exactly the guy they wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's why I had, it's sort of the parallel to your passage, Dad, which you preached on. This one is just be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. Yeah, because you'll get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it strikes me too, when we get to the story of David, there is the things that identify David are more character issues.
Yeah.
As the
external.
king, as the man. Yeah. Things, rather, these are circumstantial. Mm-hmm. And it just strikes me, sometimes when God moves, he has to use extraordinary circumstances because people just aren't, there's nobody who has the obvious character to be obvious that this is the person who should be leading us. So he's got to show in more dramatic ways.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. A detail that stood out to me this time when we read it through, which it's interesting because I think you were saying we don't know much about Saul except for that he was tall.
Yeah.
But the fact that he was a man of wealth, a Benjamite, a man of wealth, now that's kind of an interesting insight too, because there's something about his. I mean, people who grow up wealthy have a different kind of mindset than people who grow up poor.
Mm-hmm.
And David, was a poor shepherd or a lowly shepherd,
Yeah, I mean, he fits the bill. I think that's the point. Is that who were the kings of the nations? They were usually handsome. They were
Tall.
came from wealth.
Yeah.
And they were tall. And the point about height is so interesting because if you look at all of the enemies of Israel and how they're described, whether it's the Anakim or the Rephaim or even other nations, usually they're tall. The people they dreaded were tall. And so God says, okay, I'm going to give you a king like that who can inspire dread on the battlefield with his size, right? It's sort of the football thing that when you see the huge line on the other team, you think, oh no, right, we're doomed. And it's that same thing. But yeah, the narrator is brilliant here in hiding details from us.
Yeah.
He gives us just enough to know that Saul is externally impressive. But every chance Saul has to disclose something about his character in this passage, we don't find out anything.
It's hidden in the baggage.
It's hidden in the...
There you go.
Yeah, because he's so compliant. His dad says, do this. Okay. Samuel says, do this. Okay. The people treat him like this. He kind of goes, okay. You never get a sense of who this guy really is. And I think that's exactly the point. The Israelites didn't care who he was.
Yeah.
He just fit the bill.
Yeah. 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 And if you pick a tall guy to be your king, all it takes is a taller guy to come along.
Oh no.
Like Goliath.
Right.
And you begin to, I don't know if we got the right guy.
Yeah, there you go.
No, that's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big point that gets driven home in 1 Samuel 17, that you want a king to deliver you. Well, if you're going to rely on worldly wisdom for success, here's the folly of that. Because all it takes is the bigger, badder, more intimidating guy, and you're doomed. You'll perish.
Yeah.
Whereas David rather really sees things from God's perspective.
Yeah.
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 But surely we get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, it's good though to think about how these threads are being woven through the story here. And so, the three things that stood out to me were just when our desires take control, we want quick fixes. Yeah. And that's what Saul is.
Yeah.
We look for externals, measurables for what we want to do. And then also we just, we dream about the good things that will happen. We don't take seriously the warnings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to be Israel right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
No, it's no mystery why this doesn't work out well.
Yeah.
I mean, God says it's not going to work out well. And because exactly for the reasons you said.
And the amazing thing about it is God doesn't set a booby trap or something, right? Like God doesn't hamstring the situation so that it won't work. He gives Saul every advantage here.
Yeah. And Israel.
Yeah. He makes it absolutely clear who their king is. He gives Saul his own spirit, empowers him. He changes him. He gives him Samuel as his spiritual mentor, really his new adoptive father, to raise him up in the ways of the Lord. He gives them the kingdom that he's going to give to David ultimately. The duties and rights of kingship that Samuel writes, I think they're based on Deuteronomy 17, where you write out, here's what the king does. Here's how he serves in Israel. This is still God's king, even though it's the people's king, because it's God's kingdom.
Yeah.
And God never relinquishes his authority in this. It's still my people. He's the prince over my people. It's my kingdom. He's never actually giving his people over fully. And yet, even with all those advantages, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because our will never works apart from God's will.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, God doesn't compromise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. There's some sort of distinction between a judge and a king. Mm-hmm. The way that the institute that was preceded this, you had judges, and where their qualifications weren't necessarily always character driven or based. I mean, there was a lot of whacked judges, you know. But then, you know, then you have Samuel coming in, and then so there. But I'm getting at is there's this kind of like what's, you know, the priest king
connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the priesthood precedes the kingship.
Yeah.
Considerably.
It was established.
Yeah. I mean, you have Moses is a prophet deliverer primarily, who then institutes a priesthood because once God chooses to dwell with his people in a unique way, you need the priesthood to mediate this relationship. But the priesthood is hopelessly corrupt from almost the beginning.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's just, it's a corrupted institution. And you can tell why the people are sick of it.
Yeah.
I'd say the judges, the key difference is it's not, even though the nation is in the land, it's like a confederation of tribes, not really being ruled in a uniform way. And so a tribe will get attacked, and then the other tribes kind of rally together to go help out the tribe, but the tribes war within each other. Yeah. They can't really get along. And God will mercifully raise up a judge from somewhere to go deal with the problem. And then the problems, you know. Yeah.
That's evidence in that story from Judges about the Benjamites, you know, who, that terrible story about the concubine, you know. It's like,
yeah. And where does, you know, when Saul says here, I'm from the least of the people of Israel, like, well, he's from the Benjaminites. He's from Gibeah, which is where that horrible thing happened.
Yeah.
And where, you know, it was so heinous that the other tribes
nearly
declare war on the tribe of Benjamin. And there's only 600 men left. And then they try this forced intermarriage idea after that. And that's how the book of Judges ends. I mean, it is just it is the ultimate dumpster fire, the end of Judges, in terms of like, it's just horrible thing after a horrible decision after a horrible decision. But, you know, it's a clue here to say, well, what does that mean? Right? Like Saul is from the least of, is God redeeming someone from humble beginnings here and kind of redeeming the story of Benjamin? Or is it like these guys' legacy is actually a red flag here? Like this is a warning to us. What happened to Gibeah?
Yeah.
That's what we were trying to get away from as a nation. So,
yeah, they probably don't even remember.
Yeah.
And that's what strikes me about Saul, that he doesn't realize that Samuel lives in this town.
Right.
And I mean, Samuel is the central spiritual leader for 30 or 40 years. If you want to know what God thinks, here's how you find out what God thinks. He's representing God almost by himself. And so if Saul doesn't know, there's a seer here. He doesn't. That shows that what God wants is not on Saul's mind at all.
Yeah, or he's just kind of unaware. Generally, he lacks kind of spiritual awareness.
Yeah.
Do we know Saul's age at this time? I mean, it seems
young.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure.
What's that?
How old was
Saul is when he becomes king?
Well, he becomes king at 30.
Okay.
That's right. That's coming up in a couple of chapters, and he's king for 42 years. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah. Which is kind of the amazing thing here is that God lets this play out for a generation.
Oh yeah.
To convince the people, look, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what stood out to me from this passage is really how much we can get enamored with externals. Whether it's in choosing a spouse, choosing a leader, choosing a friend, choosing any of these things. And the principle that God drives home is you judge by outward appearances. I judge by the heart.
Yeah.
1 Samuel 16, that's what he says. And so I think, especially as we think about who are the people God is going to use to advance his kingdom now. Who are the leaders? This is, as you pointed out in an elders meeting a few weeks back, it's an area where we really have to check our biases, that we have a tendency in our flesh to miss the people, to overlook the people that God is using and could use in powerful ways because of their character.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. You know, as you were saying about the looking at external things, I think that, you know, another decision that we make tends to be, you know, when people are moving, they don't consider what community they're leaving and what community will be there. They assume that, you know, they'll find a church or they'll find something. And if you're leaving a really healthy spiritual community and you're not taking into consideration that a good landing spot, you might drift, you know, you might lose kind of your connection to God's, you know, if it's not a strong discipleship community, if it's not as strong in the word. And I don't know. I mean, I just think that's something I've grown so much by finding this community, and my kids have grown so much. And you know, I mean, those are huge decisions.
Yeah, it's a great point. What kind of place will make me happy in my family and bring me joy and goodness? And what does it look like? I was encouraged, you know, because my brother and sister-in-law just moved, but I was chatting with my brother-in-law and he just sent me this tome of here's how I'm thinking through churches. And here's how I, you know, just all this detail in terms of the deliberation they're taking in finding a good church. And I just thought, you know, the likelihood is they're going to find a great church because they're really taking it seriously. These first few months are the time where we've got to find a healthy spiritual community in this place. Because no matter how nice the place we live in, if we're not connected to the people of God, you know, I heard a pastor once just say, like, that's as close to heaven as you get on earth, is being connected to the people of God when they're healthy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And regardless of what any externals are like in the place you live.
Yeah.
And
even at that, you know, it's still going to be difficult. There's still going to be challenges. There's still going to be messed up people. But even still, like you said, it's the closest you can get, you know.
And we need it.
Yeah.
We need it more than we need the other things.
Absolutely.
Yep. It's good. Good.
I guess that's choosing the kingdom.
Yeah.
Rather than the king.
Yeah. There you go. Good. Well, I think that we can end it there. What do you guys think?
I think so.
Until we meet again.
Until we meet again. Cool. Well, good to be back with you guys. Thanks, listeners. We'll talk to you again soon.